Hello and welcome to the first ever episode of Unearthing Wellbeing, where our greatest wealth is health. As the title and slogan reveal, it's a discovery about one's holistic health journey. I'm Elizabeth Markey, or Ask Elizabeth, a counsellor and health advocate and an avid learner. My life experiences continuously teach me new things to get me closer to attaining my happiest and healthiest self. Unearthing Wellbeing is a series of conversations about helping people who are also on the journey of discovery, come from all walks of life, occupations, upbringings, life experiences, and whom have setbacks and struggle, attain good health and well-being. We explore how one's life is not linear and how joy, food, physical and mental health, self-care, self-doubt, and burnout play a pivotal role in life as we know it. So this episode is a quick one just to explain who I am and what this is all about, to give you some context. I've got my friend Brigitte Hakim on as the person who's going to be interviewing me. So welcome.
My name's Brigitte, like Liz said. We've been friends for, 8 years now, I think? Yeah, a long time, very long time. I'm a graduate lawyer, and Liz has definitely been a very good influence.
Thank you.
We'll start off, and I guess everyone who listens to this podcast wants to know, what does unearthing wellbeing actually mean?
Well, we went on the journey together trying to work out the best title for this podcast, because we're always on a quest. Well, I am anyway, and I hope my listeners are too, to self-improve and to attain the best health you can, to also be happy. And so that's where that came along, and learning along the way. When research comes out, you learn about things that you once were using, for instance, like cosmetics and creams and vitamins and so forth, and then you find out that they're not good for you. So I think life is a journey, basically, of learning, and we're not going to know everything now. Things change, and if the evolution of learning is something that you're interested in and you want to be a part of, then join and welcome.
Well, like I said, you're definitely a good influence, and you've opened my eyes up to so many new things that I didn't know about. And I know that whoever reads your blog or listens to the podcast will definitely learn something from you, and learn to make little changes in their lives that actually make a difference to their health, but also their well-being as well. So definitely a good start. So why a podcast? Why not just continue with the blog that you had?
Well, I think that some people aren't interested in reading. It's a bit mundane for them. I think over the course of COVID and 2020, I wanted to reach more people, and because we were working from home, most of us, or not working at all, and we wanted that motivation to self-improve, but also distract us from the shitty circumstances that we were facing. I thought, what better way to do so than in a podcast form? I wanted to give people the opportunity to have that choice in terms of what they listened to or what they read.
Yeah, different guests, different perspectives. It's easier to listen to people. And it's more engaging than just reading, and you're getting more out of a conversation with someone.
Yeah, exactly. So I think it depends on the topics as well. So if you're like my blogs were different topics as well, and having those guests on who have that people know as well can also engage them, and it's also spreading awareness.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, so you've told us briefly about, your career and why you've chosen to do this as well. Can you tell us more about that and who you are and what has led you to where you are now?
Yeah, so I'm a graduate counsellor, and I'm working finally in the area that I've studied for so many years, and that's part-time.
Applause here.
Thank you, thank you. Yeah, so besides that, I'm also a fundraiser, and that came about because of some pretty shitty circumstances, being that I lost a loved one to cancer. So I volunteer and fundraise in my spare time for the Olivia Newton-John Cancer Wellness and Research Centre, and I've raised approximately $30,000 in the last few years. Obviously, 2020, I wasn't able to partake in any of that, but I think spreading awareness for the cause is really important, which led me to the journey of holistic health. And that's when I started eradicating chemicals from my own life. Firstly, with deodorants, because they've got a direct link to causing cancer because it's got the aluminium in it. So, and that's where I also shaved my hair. That was my first ever fundraiser, where I raised $15,000 for the cause in front of my community at the Preston Market outside my auntie's cafe, so where my uncle used to work. So that's basically my career and what I do.
If anyone hasn't seen the video of you shaving your head, they need to go watch that.
Yeah, so I can link it here. Thanks.
Elizabeth definitely needs to link that because it's, one, very inspiring. I mean, I was there, I saw it. I was part of that whole journey with you as well. And it's so inspiring to see, but also just the involvement you have, and you make such an effort to get everybody else involved and make everybody else aware of everything that's going on, is fantastic to see as well. And it's inspiring. So I think I said that, but
I'll say it again.
So definitely everybody go watch that link and just look into the Olivia Newton-John Foundation and the work that Elizabeth has done, because it's beautiful to see and everybody should get more involved. So yeah, that's that. Okay, so there are going to be a few segments on your podcast when you're interviewing your guests, and there are a few. So I'm going to mention some of them, and I want you to just give me like one or two, or even however many you want, examples of how you approach them in your life. So firstly, one of your segments are, what do you do for your self-care?
Yeah, sure. So for self-care, I think that a skin routine is very important, and skin not only on the face but also the rest of your body. So I live a low tox life, well, I try to anyway, and all the products that I use on my body, including my face, are natural. So there's no chemicals in it, and I think that's a really important part of my self-care routine. I try to exercise as much as possible. I drink a lot of water. I read. I love to dance and listen to music. And I love baths. I forgot to mention that. I'm currently using Kissed Earth magnesium and collagen soak, which is amazing. It's the best way to unwind.
Okay, so then the next segment that you address is how do you manage self-doubt? So give me like one or two examples.
This is something that I'm always facing, and I'm always my biggest critic. So jumping off the deep end is one way of avoiding self-doubt, because you've got no time to overthink and just analyze every single thing that you're doing. So that's how I manage self-doubt. It happens every single day, basically, and I try to be as confident.
I think everybody has that in their life. It's just how you manage it, and you've given some good examples of how you manage it. And yeah, when you address that with your guests on your show, people can learn from that and learn how to deal with that every day. You also address, how do you avoid burnout?
I think a lot of people experience burnout, and the guests that I've had on the show are pure examples of that.
Can you explain what you mean by burnout as well?
Sure. So burnout means that you lose the energy and the ability to actually go about your normal day. And what I mean by that is you either can't get out of bed, work, play, socialize, because you've hit a point in your life where you've just drained all that energy from you. And everyone goes through burnout. It's just a matter of how you deal with it.
Mm-hmm.
And for me, like, that always changes. I'm also recognizing my limit. I tell people when I can't do anymore. And I'm the person that I really love helping people, and I'll go to the ends of the earth for them, but it has a toll on my own energy levels and I tend to burn out straight after that. And I know when I'm at my wit's end, I start cracking it and I guess snapping easily, which is my alert to myself that I need to step back and start honing in on those self-care tips that I use for myself that really work. So, yeah.
I think that's where we're a little bit similar, because we both get a little bit irritable. So as long as we acknowledge it, like you said, and on the other side to that, where's your happy place?
I love being by the beach. It just really helps recharge me. And if I could, I'd be down there the entire summer, and also being with family and friends. So, yeah.
Yeah. So then the last segment that you have, or one of the questions that you have for your guests, is what are your 3 tips to unearthing our own well-being?
Yeah, so I asked this and I put the guests on the spot, and I realize now it's a really hard question to answer and to just give 3 tips. But if I were to choose just 3, I think the first one would be establishing what you want to improve on, or in some cases where you're lacking, and research, learn, and educate yourself, and then implement it into your regime and stick with it for at least 1 month, because there's research that shows that once it's been a month, it becomes second nature and it becomes part of your lifestyle. So just stick with it. And
that was good. Yeah, forming good habits and stuff.
Yeah, I think it's just really important to establish those. And my second tip is to drink enough water and sleep enough hours. So they say you should be drinking at least 2 liters per day of water and sleeping 8 hours per night. It just has a profound effect on your overall health and well-being. So with stress, energy,
inside and outside health.
exactly,
so even your gut and stuff.
Yeah, that's right, and extends life in itself. So
yeah.
And the third one, because I forgot to mention this within my self-care routine, is to eat healthy. That doesn't mean that you can't indulge in things here and there, but don't make it a habit. Just make sure you have all the colors of vegetables and fruits, and incorporating all those things into your diet so it's balanced and nutritious. For me, I would suggest to cut out refined sugars if possible. And the more things that you can cook from scratch, at least you know what's going into the food, so there's no nasties or chemicals. Obviously, if you can afford to, go with the organic option, peeling off the skin of conventional products like vegetables and fruit, and then disposing of those, because that's where all the chemicals tend to lie.
That's a really good idea.
But yeah.
Okay, well, thanks for the tips, Elizabeth. They're a really good start, and I look forward to hearing the tips from your future guests. They're the segments that you're going to be talking about in your podcast with your guests. So it's a really great question to have, especially to end off with your podcast. So make sure you subscribe to Elizabeth's podcast and follow Elizabeth on her socials.
Yes, and thank you, Bridge, for coming on. It's much appreciated. Hopefully, in the future, we've got her on as a guest. No pressure, Bridge.
After I listen to your future podcast and learn a few things, definitely.
Well, get excited for these next guests anyway. They'll be coming weekly. I can't wait to share them all with you. Bye.